Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio.
Contractors are having issues, or homeowners even just being able to strike ground when it comes to building new places and their homes. I also believe that there should be a conversation had between the First Nations regarding Crown land, where I believe that, if we're going to have our land acknowledgements, we should actually put our money where our mouth is and figure out a way where we can provide them with the Crown land and have them in a free market society be able to do what they need to do with that.
The next one is going to be for Trevor Hope.
There we go. Thank you. Very important question, and I'm so happy that we're sitting in a room amongst leaders that have actually done the work to get this done. And I'll point out to my friend over there, Lauren. It's projects like that, the Unity project that eventually got passed. It should have been passed much earlier, but those are the exact projects that we need to be championing, because that is good housing that belongs in our community. We also need to make sure that we're working with all levels of government, municipalities especially. We need to make sure that we're working with them in terms of permitting, in terms of funding. There's different projects like that one there where there should be all levels of funding from every area of government, because those are the projects we need to make sure that people, especially there's a lot of seniors in our riding that as they're facing dem evictions, we're seeing a lot of that in White Rock. They can't afford to be here anymore, but we need to make sure that we do everything we can for have them stay in our community, and that starts with affordable housing.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for coming out here tonight. It is indeed an important question, as Trevor's indicated. Over the next 4 years, the plan of the New Democrats is to create 300,000 new middle-class homes throughout this community. We believe we can do that by working with communities, by cutting back on red tape, and simply by moving things along more expeditiously. When it takes 2 years to get permits for homes in a community, that just doesn't work for us. We're also going to look at duplex, triplex, and more suites to be brought in. So if you build a home, give them the opportunity to build a suite in that home. It'll give you a little extra money for your mortgage, and will also give others a little bit extra space. We have a lot of what we call density in our community, but most of them are empty density. There's a lot of homes that are empty. There's a lot of apartments that are empty. I dare say a third of all of the big buildings are empty. We have to find a way of getting speculators out of the game. All they're there to do is make money. Nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't give you homes. So over the next number of years, we're going to work with the community, with the municipalities, and try and bring about that change. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is, when can we expect to see changes in the healthcare wait times locally? How will your party impact healthcare access in BC?
Yeah, I think for this one, what we really need to do is create more competition. Typically, competition makes everything better as long as it's legally done with a good faith. So what we mean by that, by still having obviously healthcare available for people that need it. However, adding more private practices where we can incentivize doctors, the highest class, to be able to come and practice in our community, in our province. And so by adding more competition, by adding more hospital beds, by incentivizing companies to be able to run a good business and do what they need to do, that's how we would lower wait times as well as improve our healthcare.
Thank you. It's a great question. We need to make sure that we're doing more to support. One of the challenges that we have is that our doctors and our nurses are feeling burnt out, right? And we've seen that at King Sarge Hospital. We're seeing that with family doctors right now. So we need to make sure that we're getting more of them. We're training more of them. We've got a SFU medical school. I know that that's a bit delayed, but I'm looking forward to having people graduate from there. We also need to make sure that we're recruiting better, right? And you look at some of the schools that are producing in Ireland and other places across the world. We need to actually be out there making sure that people know that we are open and welcome and wanting them here. We also have to work on foreign credentialing. And what I mean by that is we have a number of people that are trained from other countries, like I just referenced, that can't access the healthcare system here because it's taking too long, too much red tape. And we need to cut that red tape. We need to make sure that people have been trained medically, that we can get them into the system and they're not waiting and delayed.
Thank you. And it's kind of nice to be following Trevor because he's laid down a number of issues that we're dealing with. We had over 800 new doctors in our province come into our province last year, and we've connected over 100,000 people with family doctors. We've still got a long way to go. The problem is the shortage of doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, and other technicians in the field. I think Trevor's identified that we are opening a new school or expanding the school at SFU in Surrey here, and also opening a new school or expanding the school at Simon Fraser. So we will be training more doctors as they come forward. We need to train more nurses. We understand that. And nurse practitioners are creatures that we don't know that much about, but nurse practitioners go a little bit above what nurses can do. In many cases, they can triage within the emergency system before a doctor has to get there. Indeed, make sure the doctor doesn't need to come in because the nurse practitioner has the ability to do that. We need to bring in foreign nurses and we need to bring in foreign doctors, and we're bringing that and we're expediting the process of getting them through. So we're on our way, but there is a lot of work to do yet. Thanks.
Thank you. Grocery prices are extremely high. What actions will impact affordability?
Yeah, definitely something that's hitting not just our community, all of BC, all of Canada, all of the world. There's a reality that we have to live in where whatever side you fall on, the spending of 2020 and beyond, the inflation has just hurt every single person. So how can we handle that? I truly believe that the number one thing that we could do to help all people in our community is lower taxes. That is something that obviously just comes right out of our pocket, and we need to do it intelligently. Obviously, we need to make sure our province doesn't fall apart while doing this. However, I truly believe that with the right incentive structures, with the right private businesses having more control, we could lower taxes anywhere from 5 to 10% for the average person. And that's something that would help us be able to afford the prices. And then on top of that, we do need to do a lot of things on top of that. But tackle the debt, tackle inflation, talk about what, rather than just lowering inflation, what is something that we could do that's deflationary? Yeah, there's definitely things that we could do with not 15 seconds to talk about.
Thanks. Another great question. I think one of the things that we can do is, we've talked about this, is the carbon tax. I think that when we talk about the carbon tax is a price on everything. But when we talk about the fuel, in terms of getting it to the grocery store, the trucks, all that all compounds on the prices that we're seeing in grocery stores. There's a lot of other things too. The taxation is definitely part of it. But I want something else that we're not talking about that's very important, is that when you go to Save on Foods, you go to Safeway or anything like that, there are now usually about 2 people that are working there full time as security, because the shoplifting there is through the roof. Okay, it's through the roof. So all those costs now, right? Because that's thousands of dollars a day. And I was actually, it was involved in an incident at Save on Foods about a year ago. thousands of dollars a day are being shoplifted from stores here in Surrey White Rock. And those, unfortunately, it's the consumer that's having to pay the price after that happens.
Yeah, thank you. So the thought of prices going down is just not realistic. They've gone up like crazy, basically thanks to COVID. And I'm not sure how we control people who own products, what they charge for those products. What we can do is try and make sure that people are made whole. So what we've done is the ICBC rebate. We've frozen basically ICBC prices. And so that, we don't necessarily have to pay that much. We've taken off bridge tolls. So you can come and go from Surrey. And the only place in BC that has tolls are Surrey into Vancouver or Richmond or whatever. We've taken completely away MSP, which was something Gordon Campbell started charging us for over 20 years ago. There are ways of saving money. We have ways of getting free prescription drugs for certain groups. We have the hydro rebate. And we have meals now in schools. There's many inner schools that young people do not have a meal before they come to work or to school in the morning. So we have to try and find ways of getting money into the hands of people who really need it. Frankly, I don't believe taxation is it. If we want schools, we want hospitals, we want roads, we've got to pay for them. There's no other way around it. So we have to talk about that in terms of what taxation looks like. Thanks.
Thank you. What employment policy do you have?
So for employment, the libertarian, I think that should be handled by the private businesses. I haven't seen any proof, I guess we'd say, that the government has supported more jobs. That isn't just taking, again, more of the tax dollars that we've talked about. I do believe that, with private businesses, we have needs here, want goods. That's kind of a thing that in a free market will handle itself. I truly believe that that's something that government should not focus on. Instead, they should be focusing on getting out of the way of the people that actually want to grow and build in our province.
There we go. Remember that over 90% of the businesses in Surrey White Rock are small businesses, right? It's the lifeblood of the community. My parents own small businesses. My wife does. So we need to make sure that we are doing that, because that really is the engine that drives our economy here in the province. We also need to make sure too, though, that workers are being supported and they're being treated fairly, especially our young workers that are out there, especially workers in this community that call this place home. And I know a lot of them here have gone out in the workforce, and that is incredibly important that we make sure that we're creating and fostering environments of inclusion in our workforce. And that's something that we absolutely need to continue to do and build upon.
So I'd like to go first to where the workers are needed most. That's in the medical field. So we have to train more people. We talked about doctors, nurses, technicians, and so on. We have to train our own people. That is not a cost that private sector is going to do. That's the responsibility of the public sector. We need to train more teachers. We're short on teachers within our system. We need to train more firefighters, and above all, construction workers. If we're going to continue to grow, we need to train people that are in the trades, and that's generally done by public sector schools such as BCIT. Since 2017, 250,000 jobs have been created in this province. 250,000. We presently have the lowest unemployment in the country. but we've got a long way to go. We've got people coming out of the school system who don't have a chance to get into the trades because there's no room in BCIT and other places. We have to enhance and grow those institutions so we can train more of our young people, our sons and daughters and so on. And we need to train more of the skilled people. If we do that, we'll have good paying jobs, not minimum wage jobs, good paying jobs that people can actually afford eventually to perhaps buy a home, can certainly afford the rent. That's the way we need to go. Thanks.
Thank you. And for the last question, it is, how can you as an MOA impact public safety policy in Surrey, White Rock?
Yeah, so for the public safety, I truly believe that yes, it's good to have guardrails on, but I really think that just having a strong police force uh, that's well funded, that's is able to recruit the right amount of people so that people aren't overworked. There's proper systems put in place for um, people that go through PTSD. Obviously, that's a very difficult job, and not just for police, but obviously for our ambulance workers, for our doctors, everything like that.
There we go. Good question. Number one is we need to make sure that we don't continue to have this revolving doors, that a lot of people that are in the system are having repeat offenders. They're having 10, 20, 30, and sometimes over 100 interactions with police. And that is really straining the system. It's straining our communities. And in fact, it's putting our safety at risk. And we've seen that locally here as well. We need to make sure that when crimes are committed, that there are consequences, right? We also need to make sure that people are, if something's happening, that, we're able to get people the help that they need. Not everybody should be in jail, but we need to make sure that people are getting support. And right now, I think that people are kind of seeing that that's not happening. We need to do a better job of that. We need to support our police, but we need to make sure that we are putting the safety of our citizens first before we are putting them ahead of the people that are committing those crimes.
So over 20 years ago, Gordon Campbell, then Premier of the province, shut down Riverview Hospital. Our streets now are strewn with people who have mental health issues and drug addiction issues. In many cases, both. And Trevor's talked a little bit about the frustrations of small businesses, and I agree with him. So the first thing we have to do is find sites to be able to start to treat people who have broken the law. Secondly, we have to work with the federal government on what the legal system looks like. There are provincial laws and there's federal laws. And I think we have to talk about how we deal with individuals in each of those cases. I think we can do that, but we have to, and I agree with Trevor, we have to keep people in if they're not capable of taking care of themselves. We need to get the gangs off the streets, and we need to support the police with regards to gun laws. Any gun laws, any gun crime is something very, very serious, and I believe it has to be treated in that way. We have to continue to fund and support the RCMP or local police, if indeed it's the Surrey City Police. It doesn't matter who the police are. They're doing the same job as other jurisdictions. We need to be able to support them and all the police forces. And then our legal system has to get the support it needs. It shouldn't be a year before you can actually get somebody into court. Thank you.
Thank you for answering the question.
Yes, thank you very much for the time, and we appreciate everybody that was able to stick to their own platform. That is an important part of the mixer. Next, we're going to invite the candidates to move to the reserved seating, which is at the front. And we're going to have 3 self-advocates who have 1-minute speeches on housing, employment, and healthcare. Following that, we're going to move the chairs aside and again bring out some refreshments. Will you be able to speak a little bit deeper about all the important answers that the candidates provided?
Please excuse me if I start to stutter.
Hello, I'm uh, I'm Alex Mason, and I'm going to talk about employment. Currently 27% of Canadians are living with disabilities. All of these people have the potential well, to work and contribute to their communities. Um, uh, um, uh, um, uh, we need more inclusive hiring practices which will strengthen businesses and also address the current labor shortage. Individuals with disabilities are highly motivated to work, are loyal and reliable. Um, uh, Everyone brings different skills and and new perspective to the workplace. Please excuse me. Um, uh, um, uh, um, uh, um, Folks, everybody has gifts and talents to share with the world. When people are working, they have a higher quality of life and greater economic participation in their communities. This, excuse me. This not only benefits the person working, but society as a whole. Um, uh, um, uh, I've been job hunting for a long time now. I'm a hard worker and would be an excellent employee. You never know what someone like me will bring to the table. And I'm a, I'm a, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alex. I'd like to invite Jeevan Basra up to speak about healthcare.
Hello, everyone. My name is Juban Basra. I'm a member of SAS, and I will be speaking about the current healthcare system. I would like to see shorter wait lists to see specialists and mental health support services. This would result in seeing people live healthier and happier lives. As a person with disability, it's extremely challenging to access extended benefits. Their system needs to be more streamlined. It is very difficult for my friends and I to get information, approval, and payments for the benefits we qualify for. The information about our benefits need to be in plain language. It is confusing and time consuming. Not everyone has the support to navigate the medical system. It is important for the health professionals to remember to talk to me and not my parents. I can make my own healthcare decisions. I feel our community would be much better if the health services could be approved upon. When people's needs are being met, healthcare problems don't become emergencies. This is how we build strong communities.
Thank you, Jeevan. And we have Emily White here to speak about housing. And while Emily comes to the front, I just want to share again, this is a community-wide all candidates mixer. And so the candidates are specifically asked to speak about how they can contribute to the whole community. And part of the invitation here is for you to be able to hear some self-advocates who want to share what's important to them. So I will note that the candidates absolutely did their job in highlighting what's important for them, for the whole community. And the self-advocates are speaking to the candidates as well as you, the guests, on things to think about that maybe haven't entered into your thoughts as well. And they'll also be here as part of the reception time to be able to speak to them and share your thoughts on what you thought. Emily, for housing.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emily White, and I've been a SAS member for 1 year. I would like to talk about housing. I'm 31, and I have cerebral palsy, and I live in a long-term care home mostly populated by seniors. Long-term care is the only option available to me. I believe there should be more housing options. One where I can be in the community but still receive the care that I need. People come from many different backgrounds, and it's important that housing reflects that. This looks like having more affordable and inclusive housing. There are many diverse people like me, and we deserve the chance to live the fullest life possible with the right supports in place. Everyone deserves to choose where they want to live. It is important to look beyond the disability and remember that we are all valued members of our society. Thank you for your time.
This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.